There is this question that people always ask about when to use have and has. We've noticed that these two words always confuse users of the English language. Somebody will always be like, when do I make use of have in a sentence and when do I make use of has? Now, these are things that you should know about have and has. First of all, is that the both of them belong to auxiliary verbs. That is to say that whether you're talking about have or you're talking about has, they are both auxiliary verbs. Now, how do you make use of them? Since the both of them belong to the same auxiliary verbs, how do you make use of them? Now listen, the word has is singular, while have is plural. Yes, we have something about singular and plural in verbs, just the same way that we have it in nouns. Now, this word has is singular in nature, while have is plural. And you have to know that there is a rule in Concord. There is a rule that says that when the subject of a sentence is singular, the verb in that sentence must be singular. And when the subject of a sentence is plural, the verb must be plural. Therefore, when do you make use of this has? You make use of has whenever the subject of the sentence that you are making is singular. Whenever the subject, that is to say, that particular element of the sentence that you are talking about, whenever it is singular, then you have to choose has, because has is the singular aspect of these auxiliary verbs to have. Take for instance, whenever you have something in a sentence like he, if you are talking about one person and you are making use of the pronoun he, and you want to talk about this he as having done something or being in possession of something, you should go with has. So we have he has gone to school, he has a book, he has left the house. Now, you make use of has here because he that you have here is singular in nature. That is the reason why he must go with has. Again, when you have something like she should also go with has because she is equally singular in nature. Remember we said that a rule says that whenever the subject, this is what we mean by the subject, whenever the subject of a sentence is singular, the verb there must be singular. This is why you have something like this. Maybe let's say he has a book. She has left the house. This is how these sentences should be. You cannot have anything like he have, it is wrong. And you cannot have anything like she have. It should be he has and she has. Why? Because this is singular, therefore the verb to come after it must be singular. Okay, now when do you make use of have? You make use of have when the subject of that sentence is plural. When the subject of the sentence that you are making is plural, then you make use of have. Why? Because this have is plural in nature. Take for instance, when you have something like they as the subject of a sentence, you cannot say they has. No, this would be wrong. There is nothing like they has. They would always go with have. Why? Because they is plural. Therefore, it must go with a plural verb. And that is why you have here. Therefore, you have a sentence like they have gone to school. Whenever you have they as the subject of a sentence, then the verb to come after it is expected to be plural because they is plural. Now, apart from that, whenever you make use of I or you in a sentence, these two words, in as much as they are singular in nature, each of them must go with this have. It is also a rule. Therefore, we don't have anything like I has or you has. These two are wrong. We don't have sentences this way. Whenever you are talking about I, it must go with have. And whenever you're talking about you, you must also go with have. This is why we have a sentence like, I have eaten. You have understood. For instance, now, whenever you have they or I or you must make use of have. Now, the reason for this particular one is that when the subject is plural, the verb must be plural. Remember I told you that the word have here is plural in nature. Now, for this particular word, I and you, there is a rule in Concord that says that the pronouns I and you must always attract the plural verbs. So, for this reason, when next you come across a word, a sentence such as this, you can clearly know when to use have and when to use has.